Hi everyone, it's Suzanne. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about what if you want to do all the things. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I find myself wanting to do so many different things in our homeschool that realistically it ends up being impossible. And I keep fooling myself by thinking, oh, I can get this done and this done. And it doesn't happen. Can you see my hands? It doesn't happen. So I refer to myself now as I'm like the little squirrel that always wants to chase the next shiny thing. And I think I can do way more than I can do. The reason I'm bringing it up now is because there were a few comments about my curriculum choices for next year and referencing the fact that I had chosen a lot for next year. And I was actually surprised by that. I thought I was doing much better at making some choices that were a bit more realistic for next year. Yeah, it just made me pause. I can laugh and I can joke and say, oh, chasing the next shiny thing. But there's a lot of things that I say no to because I know we don't actually have the time for it. And some of my choices are actually made out of inexperience. So, in terms of my scheduling for next year, for example, I still feel like that it is manageable for next year. And partly it's because some of the things I've chosen, I'm spreading out over a couple years. And I knew that when I made the choices, it was part of the decision making. I'm not really concerned about the choices that I made for next year, where I end up getting into some trouble in terms of wanting to do so many great things is in the middle of a schedule. So I can have everything planned out wonderfully, but then in the middle of it, we decide to do another read aloud that sounds exciting, or I come across another little mini study, or my daughter seems really excited about something, so I go down that rabbit hole. Now, I think that's part of the fun of homeschooling is that you get to go down the rabbit holes and you get to do more interest led. And for me, part of the challenge of this past year was that I was actually trying to do more interest led, that was a bigger priority for me in grade 3 than it had ever been before. Not that I didn't want my daughter to be interested, it's that she always seemed to be interested in what I was choosing anyways. But this time she's getting older and I was asking for more direct feedback and it was becoming obvious when she wasn't enjoying things. So she definitely had more of a voice there. And I loved that experience of following her curiosity. So that was kind of where I got into challenges a bit this year, was going down a lot of those rabbit holes. And honestly, I had never tried to follow interest, like to do so many interest led as I did this year. And it's learning. So all of that stuff is learning. And I would love to hear like from other people because I hear jokes about it in different like Facebook groups and things like that. But I would love to know from other community members, part of this community, if you relate to that. Are you someone that really just sticks to your schedule, or are you somebody that finds yourself wanting to do all the things? I've had some comments lately from viewers who definitely are identifying with me and relating to me, that they are excited by all the curriculum. And I think it's funny because that's one of the reasons I think we are homeschooling. It's certainly a big reason why I wanted to homeschool my daughter. And it's that I wanted to follow her curiosities. I wanted her to love learning. And it's been trying to do some things that she didn't like, and her negative reactions to that. That hasn't been pleasant. So, really trying to find a balance with all of this is an interesting process, isn't it? Homeschooling. We come into this, well, I can't speak for anybody else. I came into this really wanting my daughter to love books. I wanted her to love learning. And I've definitely got the books down. So I'm really proud of that. Sometimes the learning, I'm having to learn a new approach for that because really trying to understand her learning style and my teaching style. And it's been a huge learning curve in some areas, and others it's just been a great deal of fun. One of the big things I've learned this year is how important it is for me to lighten up, to be more present and enjoy the process, enjoy the moment. And I want more of that in the future. And this year it was quite intense in terms of learning. There was a couple of huge learning curves in terms of teaching for math and for English that I was really studying in depth. and trying to get a kind of a handle on for me as a teacher. And also because I'm part of this YouTube community, I really found myself diving deep into curriculum research. I got really excited about curriculum for next year and got caught up in the swing of that. I've never been so prepared for the next year as this year ever. This is the first time, and it's directly related to having a YouTube channel, and I'm actually grateful for that. But that was a lot of study. It was an intense period of time, I realize now. And also trying to, follow our curriculum and follow our interest led. And yeah, I'm kind of digressing here, but this is a chatty video, so I think I'm just going to go with it. It was a lot going on this year. So I feel really proud of myself for what we've accomplished up to this point. But going forward, I really want to be more present, and I want to continue on with interest led. I'm excited for our school year next year. I want to make it as hands-on and as fun for my daughter as possible. That's a huge priority for me next year because I have my daughter loves to read down. Now I want to concentrate on engaging that curiosity and helping her find the love of learning, which was a big reason I wanted homeschool. And also a huge reason for me for homeschooling is to teach where the student is at. And which means, I don't know why I kind of missed that at the beginning, of how important it is to do interest led. And I think that's a priority next year. And I'm helping to shape that, of course, because of her age, as well as, offer suggestions and really, she's excited to do Harry Potter next year. One of the curriculum that I chose for next year is Guest Hollow, and I'm really excited. I think she's going to love the hands-on part of that. She wasn't overly fond with some of the grammar choices that I made this year. I mean, she did it for me, but it was boring for her. So yeah, I just want to make that happen next year. And I love unit studies. You've probably heard me say that already. And the reason I'm mentioning it here again is that it's okay for me to go down rabbit holes with my daughter and have little mini unit studies here and there, as long as I keep the core in mind. So the language arts and the math. As long as some of those core keep going, then I'm okay with the fact that, hey, maybe some of the Harry Potter study activities that we were doing, they get put off a month or two down the road or even into next year. It doesn't matter as long as we continue to be learning and as long as the core subjects are being taken care of, then we're okay. Funny enough, I can make jokes about myself and going after the next shiny thing, and I kind of want to do it all and those sort of things. The reality is, though, I need to be excited as a homeschool teacher. And that requires some exciting material at times. And the more excited I am, the more excited my daughter is as a student. And I think that works wonderfully. Where you can get in trouble is if you go totally off the rails in terms of your core subjects, I believe. But as long as you keep coming back, I think things are okay. And every year I homeschool, I think I'm learning to lighten up in some respects and seeing where I need to be a little bit more disciplined or have more of a schedule in other areas. And honestly, I just keep getting back on the horse. What else are you going to do? I don't want to put my daughter in school, and there's many, many great things. So if we go off the rail sometimes and have to pull ourselves back, I think that's okay. I would love to know what your experience is. How do you find the journey of homeschooling? Do you find yourself going off the track and then having to work to get back on? Or is this why you maybe have set up a certain schedule? I guess that's a question. How long did it take you to find a rhythm that worked in your homeschool? It makes sense to me, though, that there's different rhythms, like there are seasons. So, of course, there's probably seasons in our homeschool, a little bit more energy in some areas and at some points of time than others. Anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent about that. I think that it's never going to look the same. It isn't going to be the same every day, because even when I went to work every day, I didn't feel the same about my job every day. So we're human beings, and that would make a lot of sense to me. I would love to know your thoughts. And if you could let me know if you like this kind of video. This is not the normal kind of video that I make. I'm not usually so chatty. I kind of feel like I'm rambling in some places. So I hope this ends up coming across a bit more conversational and in a good way, as opposed to a big diatribe on my part. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear your experience and where you're at in your homeschooling journey. I would love to know and have a conversation in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit like. And if you'd like to see more, definitely hit subscribe and definitely let me know down below. All right, I'll talk to you soon. See you in the next video. Bye.